I will be interviewing Hildy bi-weekly to get an update about what's happening at the Mojave County Supervisors meeting and how those decisions affect Bullhead City. We jump right in here to talk to Hildy about the change requests for planning and zoning and how those are being handled.
The public hearings, which are, like I talked about earlier, where we have to notice things if there's going to be a zoning change or a fee change or something like that, and that is really for the public. It's by law. There are things we have to do. We have to announce it in the paper a certain amount of days, especially for zoning issues where the county, our development services department, planning and zoning, has to send letters to neighbors if there's going to be a change, and then they have a chance to write or petition if they want to. So it's just not easy to get a zone change. It is quite a lot of work, and we do decline a lot of them, and we did it at our last meeting. And you feel bad. People have a plan and they want to build things and do things, but there's a process, unfortunately, a long one. But it's for a good reason. I know people get upset that counties and governments have so much say in things when it is private property, but again, when your private property impedes someone else's rights and private property, that's when you have to go by what the state statute says about doing these things. So that's part of it.
Clean Up Bullhead, the first Friday of each month. Make Bullhead Better is teaming up with the City of Bullhead City Parks and Rec Department to clean up various areas around our city. This first Friday that we'll be doing it will be February 5th. And we will meet at 6 a.m. at Tasa, which is a coffee shop located at 2649 Highway 95. There you'll get complimentary coffee and pastry for all the volunteers. There we will also pass out gloves, trash bags, and vests, all provided by the city. Each month we'll meet at a different location and we'll clean up together from 7 to 9. I'm really excited about this cooperative effort between Make Bullhead Better and the City of Bullhead City.
We can have presentations. We didn't have any presentations last time. Then we have the regular agenda where the supervisors or staff brings us issues, things they want to discuss and maybe vote on. Sometimes they bring us things just for discussion. That's in sort of the backup material. You can read all of this online if you go to mojavecounty.us, go to Board of Supervisor meetings. Our county does things very, very well. I think better than a lot of big counties. We record everything. You can watch all the meetings live on YouTube. And you can just go to our website and click it and it will take you there. You don't even have to, how, like in the old days, I like to say if the meeting's 2 hours long and you just want to see one item and then you got to buffer through it. And it says, we have a agenda that you can click on the item that you want to hear and the video will go right there.
Wow, that's
awesome. It is fabulous.
This interview is sponsored by my company, Arizona Candle Company. I make 100% soy wax candles, which burn for 50 to 60 hours. They're all made in small batches, and they don't have any soot. They burn very clean. When you're all done, you can use the jars for various other purposes.
So let me continue on. So they brought that 1776 resolution to us, which basically, it was very hard language because people feel very passionate and emotional about it. But one of the problems and one of the things that we have to look at is unintended consequences and how everything we do has an effect out there. And just because I feel very strongly about something, and I always say it, doesn't mean that it is for the best of the entire county. And so when we got this given to us, the wording gave me some hesitation, because I think when you say that we will not abide by any orders, laws, executive orders that go against the Constitution, you're opening up a really big,
it's very
Pandora's
open to
box
interpretation.
there. Yeah, interpretation, and that's not my purpose. Is not to fight about everything. Like we if you take different bites of it, like we did with the Second Amendment and things like that. So our new supervisor, Travis Lingenfelter, he went, and this was even before he was sworn in, he was working, which is that's what you want. You want people who really are excited about coming in and making their mark. And so he took that resolution and he gave it to a friend who's a very nationally renowned constitutional lawyer. And so he kind of reworded it. More of how I feel, more of our general statement, instead of something that could get us into legal. So we talked about that and we sent that back to staff to put into our format. So I think at our next meeting, we'll be talking about that. The other things we talked about, it had come to my attention that somehow our fire districts, now, you know that we have a lot of fire districts and they are governed by a whole different set of laws and statutes. They have their own elected boards, right? But we do have fire departments that are under the authority of the incorporated cities. Bullhead City is the only city that doesn't have that, but Havasu and Kingman. So when they got their CARES money, Havasu and Kingman, they shared it because that's where it was supposed to go, right? To first responders and that. And when we got our CARES money, we were told, and it was early on, that they were going to get their own pots of money because they had a lot of expenses. That was what the CARES money was for government expenses, because racked up because of COVID. And we were told they were going to get it through FEMA, they were going to get their own CARES money. Well, something happened. I think it was just they fell between the cracks because the rural areas are always sort of the redheaded stepchild, and they didn't realize how many they have. I mean, in bigger cities like Phoenix, they're under the authority and that they got so much money. And I just personally didn't think it was fair that they didn't. But I have to put a little caveat on that I believe that Bullhead Fire District should get their money from Bullhead City, which was also given CARES money. That they're not in, I'm talking about all the districts that are in unincorporated areas that fall under us, not under cities and their elected bodies. So we brought that up. And now it's in the process of the staff is getting all the information, how much money we're talking about, and that we'll vote on, refunding them the money that they have spent on COVID related. And we're not talking about a whole lot of money. We just did some housekeeping, and then every meeting we have a COVID update. I don't think the county does a very good job in getting information out. And there are a lot of reasons for that, because information changes so quickly. I mean, throughout this last 10 months of the 15-day flatten the curve, things have changed so rapidly. We're under a whole lot of different things. And I know people's like money, but we have to do things that the state tells us to do. And we all want the same thing. It's just a disagreement on how you get there.
Is there any information about vaccinations?
Again, it's because, if you listen to national news, like we got millions of vaccines and everyone's going to be vaccinated. But you know what? That was one of Trump's, in my estimation, problems was he kept thinking that it would run like private business. That, he gives the order, he's the chief executive, and that everybody goes out. But that's not the way it works in government. And I think everyone's learned about that. So every time we get information or report about the vaccines, we're not getting the number that we've been promised. The testing was coming through the county and we were disseminating it. Well, that never really happened with the vaccines. The vaccines immediately went out to the hospitals, and that's a good thing. Believe me, the less the government has to do with it, the better it is. But I think that people assumed because of the way the testing went down. So there's so much bad information out there, but the real information and the things that are important to people. Like I just got a call, you were here, from someone who called me from Florida that his father, who's I think he's in his 90s, can't get the vaccination and he doesn't know where to go. That's unacceptable. Unacceptable.
Thank you so much for your time, Hildy,
Thank
and look
you.
forward to interviewing you 2 weeks from now.
2 weeks.